You know, I've been a fan of Tomb Raider all the way back from day one in 1996 when my dad brought home the original Tomb Raider on the PlayStation 1, and it was probably the second game that I ever played to completion, the first being Sonic the Hedgehog on the Master System. And in all this time, I'm pretty sure I've played every single entry of the series, including the Prince of Persia style game that you could play if you had Sky. Also, shout out to all my fellow Beehive Bedlam fans. And if you were to come to me and ask me, Jake, what is the absolute antithesis of Tomb Raider? The game in the series that gets everything wrong, the characterization of Lara Croft, the gameplay, no soul, no creativity. What game would that be? Well, Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Because Tomb Raider is all about Lara and her journey, we always want to make her feel as human and believable as possible.
At least until now. You see, the Embracer Group, or THQ Nordic as most people probably know them, have bought Tomb Raider from Square Enix. But Square Enix already had a game in the works, and usually with purchases like this, if a game is already in the works, then that game will be released under the current owner at the time that the purchase is made. So Square Enix decided they were going to pull out all the stops and take one last crap on this beloved franchise. Tomb Raider Reloaded hit the shelves of your preferred mobile gaming storefront a couple of days ago, and my word, it is absolutely terrible. The game sees Lara Croft moving through a series of rooms where the gameplay can be boiled down to move or shoot, with the operative word being or, because this probably marks the first game in the series where you can either stand still and shoot or move, and those are the only two things you can do. Kind of like a twin stick shooter, only with everything that makes twin stick shooters good taken out, and just being the most simplistic possible form of that. Of course, when you shoot and kill enemies, you'll be showered with gold and power-ups and pickups and all these different things. I think I picked up about 500 shotguns in the 20 or so levels that I played, which actually didn't seem to do anything. Like, you look at the description of these shotguns and it says shoots with a 3-bullet spread, but the only time that actually happened is when I picked the power-up that was the spread shot. I don't know whether this is a bug or just an intended feature that isn't really conveyed to the player very well. I mean, you could say that this is just a collectible that tells you the description of a shotgun, but shotguns don't fire 3 bullets in a spread. The game is, of course, meant to appeal not to Tomb Raider fans, but to the mobile gamers whose sole need in life is to watch numbers go up. So as you collect gold, you're leveling up throughout your run of these series of rooms, and when you level up, you pick a perk or power up which will last you for the rest of that run. It's often pretty obvious which ones you should pick. For instance, shoot twice as fast, you're obviously going to want that. And things like spread shot or the bounce shot, which ricochets bullets off walls, aren't actually that useful because of the way the enemies are usually laid out in these levels. They're always placed kind of symmetrically around the level in like an artistic way, as if to make it sort of visually pleasing. But this doesn't give you much in the way of tactics on how to shoot enemies. Another example is the piercing shot. Enemies, if they're spread across the room symmetrically, are not going to bunch together unless you kite them a hell of a lot. And the whole idea is to kill enemies as quickly as possible and not really kiting, because that's more of a twin stick shooter tactic. The reason I don't think this really plays into Lara Croft as a character is that she is acrobatic. You've always been able to move and shoot and dodge around enemies, but there's no dodge, you just move, and the game is pretty easy. Like, you can just easily dodge most of the attacks in the game. But when you clear a room and you move on to the next room, it shows you this animation of Lara just doing all flips and stuff. You don't actually get to do that as a player, you just watch it happen at the end of each room. As far as I can tell, there is no story to speak of. At the very beginning of the game, when you boot it up, you're shown a slideshow which is basically 2 sentences of Lara explaining the beginning of the original Tomb Raider to you with Larson and Natla. But I went on to the next level then, and there was no story cutscene. I mean, there might have been, and I just have forgotten it. There are rooms which feature what the game likes to call puzzles, but the puzzle is to stand on 3 coloured switches in any order. Just stand on them before the timer runs out. I've racked my brain and I cannot really figure out how that is a puzzle, but okay. It's easy once again. I mean, what else is there really to say about the game? We all know what this is. It's just a final effort to squeeze a little bit more money out of Tomb Raider from Square Enix with some stupid microtransaction ridden mobile game. Apparently there was a point where this game was delayed and it's been a good few years in development, but this is just so simplistic that I don't understand how it could possibly have taken this long to make. I would say this is going to damage the image of Tomb Raider moving forward for Embracer Group, who have now purchased it, if not for the fact that nobody will care about this game apart from people who play mobile games and are used to playing games this shit. Like, I'm not saying that all mobile games have to be shit. I've played a couple of good ones. This game isn't for Tomb Raider fans. This game is for the mindless drones that think that these mobile games are actual real games, not just ways to have them constantly affixed to their screen to watch numbers go up. And if you don't feel like the numbers are going up fast enough, that's okay. Just pay Square Enix some money. Pay Square Enix a lot of money. Make the numbers go up faster. And fill the black void that is your life. Or you can download and play a much better game. It's called Beehive Bedlam.